Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Ototonwaibo. I'm professionally an optometrist from Nigeria, and currently I am on my master's program here in the United Kingdom. If this is your first time coming across my video, please do well to subscribe. We need your support to grow the channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much, because I actually count on you for the growth of this channel too. Do well to leave a comment, share the video, and give it a thumbs up if you actually like the video. So in this video today, we'll be talking about Precas interview or credibility interview. So many persons who are preparing for September intake or January intake, currently they are actually trying to prepare themselves for this Precas interview before they get their CAS. That's a confirmation of acceptance of studies. So this video is actually meant for you if you know you're preparing your stay, you're preparing your mind to come to the UK for studies, maybe for September or for January. So let's get right into the video. So welcome back, friends. But before we go into the video proper, I would want to just crave your indulgence of, or rather remind you of one aspect of health that people tend to neglect so much, which is their eye health. Right. So as an optometrist, I will try to encourage you to always go for thorough eye screening, because most of the eye problems that people suffer from that could lead to blindness don't necessarily come down with severe symptoms or signs, right? So it's better for you to go for thorough eye screening for you to know if you are prone to having those problems or not. So let's go into the video proper. So I have a list of so many questions that could come from credibility interview that schools possibly ask you as a student while trying to move to the UK on your master's program or on your BSc program. So if you see me flip on my phone, then just have it in mind that I'm trying to get the point. I wouldn't want to omit any point at all. So first of all, credibility interview. From the word credibility, you should know that the school wants to find out if you are believable, if you are credible enough to be given the admission, right? So many persons, back in the days or of recent times, so many persons use the student route to just get into the UK or get into Canada, US, whichever country that they plan to go to, just for the migration purpose, not just for the school proper, right? So because of that, so many schools, they just want to make sure that they hold this interview, at least to ascertain your level of knowledge when it comes to the course you want to study, the school you are going for, the city you are living, the reasons behind your decision to travel out for your school or for studies rather in general, right? So today we'll just talk about this whole point and talk about this whole questions, and then I will give you tips on what the school actually wants you to talk about for them to actually believe in your credibility, right? So the first question I have here is, most of the schools during my own time, generally these whole questions came out from my own time, and believe me, I wrote down this whole point or this whole question based on what I was asked during my own time. Some schools get so lucky that they don't get this credibility interview. They just maybe do their POF, that's their proof of fund, they submit. After they're able to show that they'll be able to pay the school fees and then take care of themselves in the United Kingdom, the school gives them the CAS, the certificate, the confirmation of acceptance of studies. Sorry, not US. All right. So if you're lucky to get admission in those kind of schools, man, that's good for you. But if you're not lucky, does not mean that you not still get the admission. If you get this kind of school that have to maybe hold the credibility interview, fine, you have to prepare yourself very, very well. You have to prepare yourself because if you fail the credibility interview, you will not get your CAS, and obviously you will not travel because you have to apply for your visa with the CAS, right? So one of the questions here is, they will always ask you, why do you want to study in the UK? So this question is quite tricky. It's talking about why do you want to study in the UK proper, not Canada, not US, not why do you want to travel, why do you want to study in the UK proper. So that means you have to give them reasons why you want to be in the UK. The reasons why you did not choose Canada, the reason why you did not choose US, the reason why you did not choose New Zealand, Germany, why UK, So many things you can talk about, maybe the system of education here, how accessible the lecturers are. You can also tell them about, the method of teaching here in the UK, the added advantage of having a UK certification. You understand that? So this is all you have to tell them about the reason why you want to study in the United Kingdom. All right. So the second question is, why did you choose to study this course? Now, so many persons don't do their research when it comes to the program they want to go for. That you have English in your undergrad. You want to go and do biochemistry. They are not related. It does not mean you cannot be able to do it, but then you have to always be able to prove your reason why you want to study this course. The relevance it has when it comes to your undergrad, your foundation that you had before, that's your BSc, before you applied for the masters. You should be able to demonstrate that you've done your research, the reasons behind it, and then how you're going to benefit personally from the program. So another most important question that they will ask you is, why did you choose to study at this university? So among the whole university you've seen Oxford Brook University, you've seen Cambridge University, you've seen Oxford University proper, you've seen Chester University, you've seen a lot of them. So why did you choose to study at this particular university? Now your interviewer is waiting for you to give him or her the reasons why you've decided to be at this university. Now he or she is expecting you to talk about teaching qualities, the ranking of that university, maybe it's ranked 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 60th, the academic quality, student inclusion, so many things that you're supposed to talk about when it comes to this school. Now talk about the location where the school is even located. The proximity of the school to train station, the proximity, the school has hostel accommodation, the school has sports center, the school has this one, it has this one, so many things. This is why you have to do your research proper for you to be able to have your credibility, because if you don't give the interview at this point, believe me, they're going to deny you of your CAS. And if your CAS is being denied, obviously you will not apply for your visa. So make sure you do your research properly. Know your course models, know the facilities that are found in this school. When you talk about facilities, talk about maybe laboratory center, so many places, facilities, sports center, gym, hostel accommodation, student union, so many things you need to just research about this school before you hold your credibility interview. So the next question that they will possibly ask you is, did you consider studying at any other university apart from the university that is holding the credibility interview with you? I know some persons will say no, but it's not advisable for you to say no, that you did not consider other university. It's not possible, because traveling abroad is not something you just wake up one morning and you decide to carry your bag and leave. You must have done a thorough research. It's not bad for you to consider other schools, definitely. So at that point, you have to tell them the schools you've considered, the courses you've considered in that school. If you've done any research, you even have to tell them if you've considered studying at your home country. Give them points. They just want you to give them points. Just be plain. It's not like back in Nigeria, where if you apply school if it's not your first choice, they will not give you admission. No, they don't do that in UK. Just give them the reasons why you've considered other schools, and then the reason why you now finally decided to be in this particular school. All right. So then another question that they will possibly ask again is, given your previous study history, how will this course assist you in your future plans? Oyibo, they always think long term. It's unlike some primitive person that they don't think, just think within the cycle, within the year that they find themselves. Now they're looking at, what are your prospects? What are the things you plan to do 2 years, 3 years, 4 years after your studies here in the UK, right? Just like as I said before, that if you had English in your undergraduate level and you're planning to do microbiology, how do you plan to link it? So these are the points that the interviewer wants to hear from you. So how is the present course you're applying for, how is it going to help you in your future career? That you plan to work in a hospital, how is it related? That you plan to be an administrative officer, how is it related? You plan to be a manager, how is it related? Try to give them points of how this is going to help you in your personal growth and career. All right. So the next question they will ask you possibly is, where is your university located and where will you live in the UK? This is a very, very important question. I've heard stories of people landing landing at the airport, and when they got to the immigration office, the immigration officer asked them where they will be staying. They said they don't know. And I I'm not so sure that they were sent back to Nigeria. I don't know how true that could be. But this is a very vital question to be asked, right? Where is your school located? If you claim that you're actually coming to study in the UK and you don't know where your school is located, that means you are lying. And you don't know where you'll be staying when you come, that means you are lying. So the safest thing to tell them about where you're going to stay, you tell them about you are going to stay at the school accommodation. Most schools here have accommodation for students, although it's not free, but that is the safest thing to tell them, that you'll be staying at the school accommodation. So talking about the location where the school is, the geographical location where is located, tell them about the city, tell them about the streets. During my own time, I was able to do a lot of research. I told them about the streets. I even told them about train station, told them about the nearest bus station, told them about church that is found at the city center. Just do your research of this particular school. If possible, download pictures, get your facts, tell them. They just want to keep hearing things. It's quite necessary for you to do your research properly, because if you've not done your research, if you fail to plan, obviously you have planned to fail, right? So this is the question: where is university located, and where will you be living when you enter the country? That's when you come to United Kingdom. So the next question is, how will you travel to the university each day, and how much will it cost you? I know you just be wondering, how will you know how much this is going to cost you when you are still in Nigeria? Obviously, all of those things are found online. If you know these informations properly, how to input them on the search box, you'll get information that you need. All right. Search about the nearest train station, the nearest bus station. Get the train fare, the bus fare, how much it's going to cost you from the place you propose to leave to the school. If it's going to cost you £5, just say it. If the place is very close to your school, the bus station or the train station is very close to your school, tell them that it's trackable and it's 5 minutes walk. You get to the school. That is the safest thing to do. More especially if you've told them that you're staying in the school accommodation. School accommodation is always very close to the school. So that means it's just like 5 minutes walk, you get to the school. All right. So that is it for how you will travel to the university each day and how much it will cost you. So the next question is, how will you acquire the necessary funds to meet the course fees and living cost? Some schools, they will ask you, how will you be funded? How will your education be funded? So many options that you could have, that your family is going to sponsor you, or you have an education loan, or you have a brother who is sponsoring you. And most of the times, if you talk about a brother, that means you must have a letter from your brother stating that he is giving you his money to sponsor you. Most of the times, you don't use letter when it is your parent that is sponsoring you, right? So you have to know all of these informations, and don't stutter. If you are giving them your reply, don't stutter, don't stammer. Make sure you give them a fluent reply for them to be sure that you are not trying to play around the whole words, right? So the next question is, have you ever applied for visa to a different country before? If it is no, simple, just state no. If it is yes, just state yes. And believe me, the question will always give birth to, have you ever been denied visa to a different country or to UK before? So if you said no for applying, then obviously that means you've not been denied, right? So just keep it straight and don't stutter. Then the question is, what countries have you visited and what was the purpose of your visit? If you've not visited, simple, say you've not visited. Don't go and make too much statement about it, not to implicate further questions, because there are some statements you give or some answers you give that will give birth to unnecessary questions that you're not even prepared for, right? So just try to keep it short and straight. So the next question is, what facilities are available at the university? If you've not done your research, you'll not be able to know all of these facilities. I think I said it before, like a few minutes ago, that if you don't know these facilities, you will not be able to speak well about the fact. You have to give details. You have to talk about the library. I say something like the gym, the sports center, and all of that. And you should also be able to prove the reasons why you prefer those facilities in your school. How the facilities are going to help your education, how it's going to help your studies, and all of that. So this is a very, very vital question. Talking about your course models. They could ask you to provide about 2 or 3 specific models from the course you've applied for. Now, some schools, like when I had my Precas interview, I was asked about my whole course models. And then when I gave out the whole 8 of them, I was now asked to illustrate or explain 3 out of the 8. So the next question is, how is the course assessed and how many hours of study a day? It's very tricky. Back in Nigeria, every course must have assessment, must have quiz, must have assignment, and then finally exam. But here in the UK, some courses you don't write exams for them. Some of them you just, the whole workload is based on assignment and quiz and all of that. You don't write exam. So you have to know how your course will be assessed, whether it's going to be assessed verbally, whether you're going to have any form of vlog, any form of video presentation, seminar, reports, reading, examination, and all of that. This is what you need to answer based on what you found out from your research for your school that you've applied for. How does the course relate to your previous study? I think we've talked about that before. You should be able to have a linking pathway, a synergy between your previous course of study and the one you've applied for, right? Then what are your future career plans? I thought about having a long-term plan for your career. You should be able to give them from now, after your school, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, after your school here in the UK or your program here in the UK, what do you plan to do? How is the course going to affect your life positively? How is it going to influence you? Do you plan to get a job when you get back to Nigeria, and how much are you going to be paid? Why do you think this course is going to help you in that career? So many things you need to think very well, think properly before you answer. So another possible question could be, how long is your course and what qualification will you receive? So many programs here have different duration of, the duration when it comes to timing. Like most schools have, generally, like 90% of United Kingdom universities have 1 year for their master's program, right? So why some programs 2 years, some 18 months, depending, right? So you should be able to know your program itself, how long it's going to take for you to finish up from your program. Then knowing the qualification that you come out with or that you receive after the program is very, very essential, whether you be coming out with MSc or MBA. How do you explain the gaps in your education and employment history, and why are you returning to study now? So many persons must have graduated from school maybe back in 2012, and then they started hustling, naija, started hustling for money, trying to put themselves together 5 years after. You should be able to prove to them that these are the things you've been doing within these few years before you started applying for this master's program. So you cannot just tell them that you finished your undergrad, your BSc back in 2012, and since then you've not been doing anything, you've just been idle, and all of a sudden you woke up after 5 years and you want to go for masters. So you should be able to prove what you've been doing, the gap in between your education and your employment history. So another vital question that they will ask you is, do you know how much your living expenses will be in the UK? From your research and from what we already know, that UKVI says that it will take you £9,207 for you to really take care of yourself within a year, within that space of time you'll be studying here in the UK. So if you're not able to give them this point, that this is the exact amount you need for your living expenses, your daily living, feeding, transportation, and all that, and accommodation, that means you've not really done your research very well. During my own time, they asked me, and they even asked me how much I plan to spend on a weekly basis, how much is my accommodation, and I was able to give them points. Although I didn't know about the accommodation before that, but I was able to give them points. Then they will ask you again, do you have any other personal commitments that would make study in the UK difficult? Maybe such as family, maybe you're married and your wife is heavily pregnant back home, or you have sick parents, or you have sick siblings, anything that could make your stay here in the UK, for your attention to be divided. That is the point where you tell them about that. Then they will ask you, do you intend to work in the UK, or do you know how many hours you are allowed to work? Basically, as a student, you're only allowed to work 20 hours a week. Yeah, 20 hours a week. But telling them that you are allowed to work most of the time sends that signal that you are coming to work. It's always better for you to tell them that you are not going to work, that you have enough money to take care of yourself. If you know what works for you better, you just say it. During my own time, I told them that I don't plan to work, that I already have plans of how I'm going to take care of myself here in the UK. But peradventure, if I'm able to work, I'll just work 20 hours a week, which is what the UKVI has stated for my visa category, right? So this is just all the questions that I was able to draft out from my past experience when I had my Precas interview sometime last year. All right. So for you to be able to hold this interview and pass it, I keep hammering on this research. Do your proper research. You know, there's no information that you want that you not see online unless you don't know how to input the question for you to get the necessary information that you need. If you do your research properly, believe you me, you'll scale through, and definitely you get your cards in few days, and you apply for your visa and your education to start off from there and all that. So that is just basically it. Please, if you know that this has been so helpful to you, please just give it a thumbs up, drop a comment. I'll be able to respond to every form of question that you have. For you to be able to watch this video to this point, if you're a new subscriber, I'll have 3 gifts. I have gift for 3 persons. If you're a new subscriber, just comment that you've subscribed and then drop your phone number if you're still in Nigeria. I have a gift for just 3 persons. All right. So please stick with me. Always come back to my videos. I will make sure I always keep uploading videos every week. I have a lot of information to dish out, a lot of experience to share that could help you if you are in the country or if you are yet to come. That could help you to manage your life here as a student, how to control both the part-time stress and everything. So we'll have a whole lot to share with you. And please don't fail to click the subscribe button. All right, please click the subscribe button because it will help this channel to grow. We are still very little and we plan to get it to a greater height. Thank you so much for sticking with me to this point. Thank you so much, as I see you on my next video. Bye bye.